Hey, you're listening to the UpRev Ninja Podcast, and this is episode number 29.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the UpRev Ninja Podcast. If this is your first time listening, thanks for joining us. This show is produced each week with the single intent of discovering the tips, tricks, hacks, and lessons learned from our guests that has catapulted them into living the best version of themselves. Join your host, Tom Hudson, as he continues his search for the best methods to uprev his life. Now, let's dive into the show.
Today on the UpRev Ninja Podcast, I got Michael Giannulis with us. Mike is a serial entrepreneur, sought-after speaker and trainer, a real marketing guru, and a world-class copywriter. His ads have produced millions in multiple industries over the last 12 years, and his current company is on pace to do $40 million in gross revenues without selling any physical products. Hey, today on the UpRev Ninja Podcast, I've got Mike joining me. How you doing today, Mike?
Hey, doing good.
So, thank you for joining me today. We were talking about before the show got started, there's 10 different places we could take this, from your education background to the entrepreneurship side, just all the challenges that you've overcome. But I want you to tell us your story and who you are.
Sure. Well, my name is Mike Giannulis, and I've been an entrepreneur for pretty much from day one. Like, I think back to when I was in, I believe, grade 6. I actually started writing poetry and sold that to kids at school and things like that. Way back then, I kind of always had the bug for that. And I think for me, I tell people this a lot and they're always kind of surprised, but early on, especially, I failed again and again and again. And I tell people that all the time, that, it's not so much how you start, but it's really where you end up. And for me, I had so many things that I tried because I didn't quite know where my place was. I remember being 18, 19, 20. When I was in high school, I actually dropped out for about 6 or 8 weeks. And thankfully, I had a really good teacher who was able to get me back in school, and I was actually able to graduate. But I was that kid that just didn't really know where he fit in. I was always trying to find something, and I knew for me, going down the job path was not the right outcome. Just for me, I'm very much a self-directed type, and I like to pursue goals that I think of. So I recall, I think when I was 21, I got involved in probably what few people have ever heard of this. So it's a very strange one. But when I want to say I was 21, and I was going, at that point, I was actually going to a small Bible college in Illinois.
Okay.
And my friend up there was like, hey, you know what would be cool if we started a farm? Now, I'm from Tampa Bay, which is in Florida, which is not country at all. It's very much city. I grew up like the only times I saw a cow was when my aunt had like a little fake farm where she had some property, and I think she had like 3 or 4 cows and stuff like that. But up there, we kind of decided, let's start a dairy goat farm.
Wow. Okay.
Which again, I don't know anything about this stuff. I was just like, hey, yeah, it's cool. It's new. It's something I think we can make some income, right? So I helped a lot on the paperwork side of things. I helped talk to the farmers that we were trying to buy these goats from. And most people that would do this would say, well, let's buy maybe 5 goats, maybe 10, 20. We were crazy. We were able to secure a loan from the USDA, which is the United States Agriculture Department. And we went out and bought 5
No way.
dairy goats. Yes,
Oh, wow.
500 of them. And to make it even crazier, they were all pregnant.
Oh,
every single goat. And it's craziness, right? And there's even more to the story because they were all pregnant and they were all set to have their kids in the same month.
Okay.
So I remember it being like April, May into June. It was just like a big phase of my life that I don't recall because all I did was help pull goats out and kids out and feed goats and bottle feed goats. And it's all I did. And at our peak, we had probably over 1,000 of them. And it was this really huge thing. We had employees and all this staffing. And I thought that was it. I was like, man, this is it. I found my thing. This is going to be awesome. And then we ended up having some troubles with the EPA because they weren't thrilled about our waste treatment plan. And long story short, ultimately, the government came in and they pulled all of our funding.
Oh, wow.
So instantly we couldn't pay our staff. We couldn't buy food anymore even for ourselves, but also for the animals. And we became, where pretty much within about 2 months, we could no longer operate. And ultimately the government came in and, you've always heard the sob stories about the bank took my home, my car got repossessed. You've always heard those.
Right.
I may be the only guy who can boats got repossessed. The government actually came in, took them all, sold them. My partner and I, lost everything. Thankfully, I wasn't signed on anything because I was so young. I still feel bad about that, but I wasn't on that side of the fence. But, we did our best to try to help him get back on his feet. And he's actually doing fine now, which is awesome to hear. But, that was kind of my first big time failure where things just blew up in my face. And I tell that story because people, if you were to meet me, you would think there's no way this guy ever got involved with anything like that. Like it shocks people.
Right.
And I think for me, it was just like it was a very strange time for one. But beyond that, I think it showed that I was hungry for something. I just didn't know what. And I think that so many times we do the same thing. We jump at what we think is the right thing, but we don't know. And I'm not even saying that that's wrong, especially when you're young. You've got to try stuff out. You have to kind of find what it is that you're into. And for me, I probably had 2 or 3 big discoveries from that. First one was, get involved in something that you at least have passion for. I can say for sure that dairy goats was not a passion thing for me. Right.
All right.
And secondly, big key is make sure that you have a plan in place for what you're going to do, no matter what the outcome is. So we didn't really have a plan B. Our only plan was things were going to go smoothly.
Right.
And I've learned now, especially in business, things just don't go smoothly. That's just not the way life works, right? We're in business to solve problems.
Right.
So if there's not a problem, then there's not really a profit to be made.
Yeah, there's no business.
There isn't. Yeah, right. So I've come now to realize that, you got to be prepared at any time for anything, especially if you're dealing with government or big companies or big contracts. I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories where people had everything wrapped up in one company or one vendor or one source, and then it was gone,
right.
And they were like, oh, what now? So that was a big key for me. And my third big key that I'll tell people always is don't buy any dairy goats. Just stay away from them. That's it.
Yeah, I can imagine, I can't imagine going into a business like that, especially being, if I was from a city. I'm actually from Texas and kind of grew up on a ranch, but regardless. So Mike, kind of going through this and, knowing some of the other things that you've overcome, what would you say has held you back from becoming the best version of yourself?
Tom, that's a good thing to bring up. And for me, it's always been not having self. So I'm a kind of person that I believe in people. Like I will inspire people and tell them you can do anything. You got this. You can do it. I believe in you. You are more powerful than you ever realized. And then I'll look at myself and go, "Oh, Mike, you can't do that. You'll probably screw it up." And I did that for years and years and years, where even when I was achieving and doing these incredible things, I would always find a way to kind of go, "Well, I kind of lucked into that one." Or, "Yeah, I know I wrote this great ad campaign that did, 8 figures company, but, it's kind of half luck and half this and half that." And I would always find ways to kind of downplay what I did.
Okay.
And I think that was a big problem that I had. And I still to this day have to keep myself aware of that. I think I was raised to be very humble, just the way that I am.
Right.
And so I think there's a fine line between that and then not accepting, when you do something the right way, and not, being able to say, "Hey, that's okay." It's okay to give yourself a pat on the back, and it's okay to say, "Yes, this is because of me. I did this."
I've heard that referred to when we have something like that we always we have to be mindful of, otherwise we can slide right back into our old behavior. I hear it's almost like a permanent dent. Something happened to us as a kid, or just this messaging that we were given, and for the rest of our lives, it's going to be like that. And we just have to always remember, it's okay. Whatever the message is, you just have, once you come to realize that and accept it, it's a little easier, not to fall back into those old routines.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think for me too, I always share that, because even though it's tough, sometimes it's hard to share, these things that affect us. But I chose to, because I think a lot of people deal with that too.
Right.
They feel like they're not good enough, or they're not qualified enough, or they don't have whatever it takes to do the thing that they want to. And I've learned that I think at some point in time, we all have to take that leap where we go, "Hey, I'm like, I always ask myself, when did I become an expert?" Right.
Right.
It's like everyone, if you break it down, there was, were they an expert on Wednesday, but they weren't one on Tuesday, right?
Right.
There's got to be so there's this gradual process that we all go through, and there's not ever going to be a day where you go, "Hey, I'm here. This is me. I'm awesome." It's going to take, it's a gradual process, and you've got to kind of just get yourself out there and start doing things. And the more success that you achieve, the easier I think it'll be for you to have faith in yourself to do other things, and you kind of build on that, right?
Yeah. Well, Mike, what makes you a ninja? Like, what do you, your daily routine, tips, tricks, hacks, anything like that you really swear by, that keeps you motivated and moving forward?
Yeah. So the, big thing for me, Tom, is my ninja side of me, where I'm probably the best at, is writing ads.
Okay.
Which for some people sounds like the most boringest thing ever, but I love it. I love to write ads, because I've learned that in the business, it's not about how good you are at the thing that you do. I mean, that does play a big time part, but at the end of the day, the people that make the income, the people that grow scalable companies, they really master 2 skills: marketing and sales. And if you can do those 2 things and you provide a good product, you can go a long, long way. I can't tell you how many people I meet that are bitter people, because they're like, "I'm the best at plumbing, and this guy down the street is terrible, and he gets everybody.
Right.
And I'm 10 times better than him." Sadly, we don't choose people based on that. I mean, the reviews help. We'll go pull up a review and go, hey, it's a 4-star. But, at the end of the day, it comes back to getting your name out there. And so that's something that I've been able to develop. And I've, been at it for 12 years now, just writing copy, writing ads, writing sales pages. Now VSLs they're called, which is a video sales page. Those kind of things are where I've kind of made my bread and butter. And for me, there's a few different little hacks that I've kind of come up with over time. And I am truly like the biggest dork when it comes to acronyms. I love coming up with acronyms. That's like my weird little trait that I kind of have always had. And one of the big things that I teach people is if you want to write something that converts,
right,
something that will actually get people to take action, to either get your free thing or buy something or book an appointment or call you, you want to give the prospect what I call the feels.
Yes.
You want to give them the feels, which stands for 5 things. And again, you don't have to hit all 5 of these, but if you do, these are the 5 that really, really pay off. And this has to do with what people want, because there's say they want, and there's what people actually want. What we're going to do is we're going to give them what they want, and we can package what they get to be what they actually need. But what the feels stands for, what people want. And I always tell people, if you're going to write something, go back to these 5 things and you'll convert way more. They want something that they perceive to be fast. So the F is fast. That doesn't mean that you have to make a promise that isn't true. You just have to show them how is doing it with you or your thing going to happen for them faster than if they were on their own.
All right.
Right. The E goes right along with that. Easy. People want things to be easy. That's why, if you think about it, every time we develop a new product across the board as humans, what is it that makes it new? Usually it's that we made it easier, right?
Right.
We had a push mower and that was okay. Well, going way back, you probably had the kind where you pushed it and it spun the little thing and it chopped up, your grass. And then they made it easier by having it be an engine or whatever. And then they're like, well, how can we make it even better than that? And then they made it where you can drive it. And I think now they have kind where you just turn it on and it goes off and it's all by itself, right?
Yeah.
Even
the robotic.
Yeah. So humans, that's what we want. We want everything to be easy. So again, you don't have to say, hey, it's going to be so easy if it's not, but you can show how getting to how your thing, your product, your service, whatever is easier than if you're on your own.
Okay.
So you want things to be fast. You want them to be easy. The next E is expert. And what that means is this is speaking to authority and speaking to proof. Why are you, or why is your product, or why is the thing you're trying to sell, why are you qualified to sell it? People want to know that they can trust the person they're going to talk to here, or they're going to pay, or they're going to get consulting from, or whatever. They just want to know that there's proof there. This is the thing that people forget about all the time. They don't really show people why they're an expert, or why they know what they know, or why this thing will do whatever you say that it will do. That's a big one. And then the L is probably my favorite one, and that is a lifestyle. Because so many times when we sell stuff, we talk about, you've probably heard people always saying there's features and there's benefits, and that's true. Features are what the product does or has, and benefits are what it'll do for you.
Right.
So feature might be the pen can write in 3 different inks. Okay, that's a feature. But then benefit could be, you can change your ink color on how you're feeling that day. Want to write a serious piece, use the black one. Want to goof off, use blue, or whatever. But what people do is they don't take it beyond the benefit and talk about a lifestyle. So what that means is, how is your life going to change?
Okay.
How is it going to change your life? So a great example, weight loss. People love to sell weight loss pills, products, books, all that stuff. Many times, you don't want to say, we're going to teach you how to restrict calories, right? Because that's really all that it is.
Right.
What you got to do is you paint the picture of not only the benefit, because the benefit will be you're going to shed the fat, you're going to burn this, you're going to be way more fit, right? That's a benefit. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't paint a picture for your prospect over how their life will be. So if you think of it like this, if we could say, imagine being able to finally fit again in that, sexy black dress, the one you haven't worn since you were 21 years old. Imagine the look on your husband's face when he sees you walk down the stairs and he can't believe it. So we're putting them in how their life will actually change and painting a picture of how it'll look, because people need to be able to visualize how their life will look and how it'll change, because that's what people want. That's what we're selling. You're not selling a weight loss product, right? You're selling
that feeling,
this new life, that
right.
feeling, right? Exactly. So that's a big one. And it's very, very powerful, because you don't have to even say you're going to lose 20 pounds. You don't have to say, I guarantee you this or that. You're just painting a picture of how life could be after they've achieved it. So that's the big key. It's about, how is life going to be different after they achieve whatever your product promises them.
Okay.
And then finally, the S is system. And you also could say steps. It's basically just people want to know that you've carved out a process for them, that there's a way that they can go through things, that they can actually put it into practice. How do I go about achieving whatever it is you're going to show me?
Okay.
I want to know that there's a process, that there's a system for me to follow. So that's one of the big things that I teach, that I truly believe it. Whenever I've shown this to people, I've seen an instant improvement in the quality of how they write. So I hope that can help.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny, like, I'm definitely a systems guy. And so I'm probably like rock solid in that area, but the other 4 areas I'm not that great in yet. It's something I'm learning though. So
it is tough. It's tough because you can also see that you're talking to different types of people too.
Yeah. And I think that's the challenge for me, as my undergrad is in organizational leadership. So I see, there's 50 different, archetypes out there or whatever, and I want to speak to all of them. So I get overwhelmed by that.
Yeah.
So, Mike, what about, what do you do now to help you, push yourself out of your comfort zone? That way you're always learning and trying to get to that next level.
So something that I did this year, which was something that I'm very, very thankful for. I actually, even though I've been writing copy, so my company, we create all sorts of programs for different people. So we'll do consulting work, or we'll partner with people, and we'll package products and services around experts. Anywhere from things like real estate investing, e-commerce, online business. We kind of have all sorts of stuff. And my, I'm a partner in that company. But the other thing, my main job there is creating offers, creating products, creating packages, and so that job title, if you want to call it a job, is actually known as a copywriter.
Okay.
WRCOPYWRITER. And we're just the people that write ads, and that's a big thing that I do. And even though I've been at it, as I said, going on 12 years now, this year I went out and I actually hired a copywriting coach just for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was very, very, very expensive. More than I would probably ever want to spend. It was so much I'm almost ashamed to like tell people. It's like, they'd be shocked. But it was definitely tough for me because he also has a very, very extensive program, and it takes up a lot of time. And like the majority of people that already own a business or already booked up, it's extremely hard to add something else,
right?
And something that you're paying for, so you can't just skip out on it, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you, it's been a great thing for me, and it kind of forced me to rethink a lot about why I do what I do. Part of why I actually paid him is because I've begun now to teach people. Here's how to write better ads. Here's how to improve conversions, and bringing him on board helped me to kind of begin to consciously break down what I had been doing subconsciously.
Yeah.
And that's been huge for me. And not only that, but I've been able to bring on a team under me now that I'm training to take over and having them write ads, for the company. And that was a whole other skill set. Just getting the skill set to teach it is a different skill set than being able to write it.
Right.
And that was a big thing for me.
Well, it's a good thing, right? Because not just because you've learned and you've grown and you've stretched yourself, but if you didn't do this investment, you have to imagine that one of your competitors would have done the investment, and then that would have slowly taken your clients and customers, and then you would be back on the goat farm where you don't.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yes. Yes.
We always,
so true.
Yeah. And I mean, especially in the field that you're in doing, copywriting, the internet changes like by the minute. So there's so much you have to kind of, stay on top of. It can be pretty overwhelming at times.
For sure. Yeah. There's always something new. It's the thing is, when it comes to humans, we don't change. We're pretty much the same. I could show you ads from like 1920 that would almost work right now, but the internet is changing constantly, and the way we present these ads and the way we talk to people will change. If you're on Facebook, you have to talk in a certain way. If you're on YouTube, you have to do this. Every medium has a different mode of communication.
Right.
And that's what we're always trying to find out, right? That's what we're always trying to play with. And we split test. So we're always testing this and trying this out and trying these things out. It's a whole other world for sure.
Well, Mike, what about, just personal habits that you have that, contribute to your personal growth? Like daily routine or anything that you do on a kind of a routine basis, or any just habits that you feel really level you up?
Yeah, that's a good one to bring up, because there's one of them that's been really, really big for me. And, I haven't really shared this story too much outside of a few different events I've spoken at, but in, I would say, 2017, probably in 2018. All right. So back in like 2014, 15, I was just shy of 500 pounds.
Okay.
It was my top weight.
Can't imagine, but okay.
Yeah, it's a whole other storyline. But as of right now, I am 205 pounds.
Wow. Wow.
So I've lost almost 300 pounds. And, it's been a long road, and it's been a lot of ups and downs. And I have a lot. There's, a whole other, we could do a whole other podcast just on this stuff. But,
yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing for me is keeping a routine, making sure that I'm up at the same time every day, making sure that I'm going to the gym, that I'm going, I do weight training 3 times a week. I walk every day. If I can get a chance, I ride the bike, just trying to be active. And for me, I used to think, and half of why I got so big is I would just work all the time, and I would think, oh, there's no way I can go to the gym or do any of those things because I have to just work.
Yes.
And because of that, I think I shortchanged myself, and my production actually fell because I was so just sick all the time, with problems. And getting all that fixed and getting on track now, man, if I ever can't go to the gym, it's like I hate it.
Yeah.
I feel so terrible. I got like, man, I got to get back in there. And so that's a big key for me. I've found that I really, even though there's a part of me that hates like structure and being told where to be and what to do, there's also a part of me that loves it. I love the structure, but I think the key is I have to set it myself. I guess that is it for me. I don't like someone else saying, this or that, but if it's my choice, that's awesome. And I find that there's a real beauty in doing the same thing every day. Kind of like just, you kind of know what to expect. Now, what you do may change, but I just like to know I'm going to wake up at 7. I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to go here. Just for me, I really enjoy that. And I found that I get a lot more done. And to go with that, a thing that I do often and that I teach people is I call it the Super 6.
Okay.
And my Super 6 is just and again, I'm very high tech. So I have a notepad file called, and I have it saved as super6.txt because I'm a PC guy. But I just write in there each day the top 6 things that I want to accomplish, and I update it. So as they get done each day, whatever I didn't get done will go up to the top.
Okay.
And then I have like pending things, and I'll bring those up. And that's honestly it. I just have that list, and it's so simple. But the key is, so many people will make like a to-do list of like 30 things, 25, 30 things.
Yeah, it's a mile long. Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll be like, take out the trash, check, did this, check. The truth is, you just got to focus on what are the 6 things that would be a huge win.
Right. Yes.
And that's what I do. I just focus on those things, and I work them down the line. And I've had people that I've sent this to. I actually have like a file that I'll share that with your audience. But people really enjoy it, and they're like, hey, it's so simple, but man, I get way more things done. And I think that's a big key. I think sometimes we always think it has to be some like amazing, aha, why didn't I think of that? This is crazy discovery. Sometimes it's the simple stuff that just has a big impact,
Yeah, and it's funny. So I do 3 things a day is what I do, but very similar. I think having a routine is absolutely paramount for multiple reasons. But one thing I would like to mention is, there's scientific evidence that states the more decisions that you make throughout the day, the less decision-making power you have towards the end of the day. So if you can like automate decisions, like you said, wake up at 7, go to the gym at 7:30, 9, do this, anything that you can kind of automate or structure that you're not having to make a decision on, really helps you, and it makes that your willpower last longer throughout the day for those tough, big decisions, especially in a business, that you're managing, millions of dollars and people's careers and their lives and their families. There's a lot of stress that comes with that. So
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's actually, I did not ever hear that before. So that's cool to find that out. And I think it's so true though, because the less choices you have to make, and then you'll be able to save that up, right, for when it comes time to make some bigger choices.
Yeah,
That's great.
I'll put the book that I'm referencing in the show notes. I believe it's called Willpower. I don't remember the name of the author off the top of my head, but it'll be in the show notes.
Awesome. I'll check that out too.
Yeah. So, Mike, so it sounds like you've got stuff on lockdown, but there's always something, a part of us that we're always trying to improve, be it, relationships or, finances or physical health or anything like that. What are you currently focused on in your life that you're trying to improve?
Yeah. So for me, a couple things. The big one right now is I lost all this weight, and now I kind of want to build up some. So I want to finally have that cool body that I've only ever dreamed of.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to look more into supplements and heavier weights, and kind of creating more of a routine to actually start to build and craft out the body that I would want. I've actually gone through now 2 different surgeries to remove skin.
Wow.
I've got like 2 or 3 left.
Okay.
When it's all said and done, I'll have removed about 26 pounds of skin.
Whoa. Okay.
So far I'm at about I think 16 or so. So
okay.
I'm on the way there. But yeah, so that for me is a big thing. The other thing is, for me always is trying to improve relationships with those, with my wife, with my mom, with my family, always trying to go out of my way to be there for them, because I think especially when you're a business owner, it gets hard because you get pulled in so many ways. Like my company right now, we have between salespeople and staff and all the people that are involved, we have close to I think 75 people. And you feel this. Me, I personally feel responsible for them. I guess like if I screw up, they don't get paid, right? So right. I definitely got to be on my A game. And so it gets to be like where sometimes you can tend to put that in front of everything else. And so I really try and I work hard to remember to put the people in my life, first, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be there for me when I'm 70,
Absolutely.
And so I've and that's something that I still have to, keep an eye on, because I definitely gravitate towards doing more. For me, it's fun. Like I like it. I like business. I like being up early. I like staying up to figure out problems. That's a thing that I enjoy. So I have to, I have to keep an eye on it where I don't fall out, of balance. Right.
Yeah, no, and I think that's one thing that's difficult for some people. There's so many different moving parts, and just how do we keep it in balance? But I agree. There's a lot there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Mike, just kind of moving to some of the wrap up round here. So we talked on a lot of different topics already, but let's say there's someone in the audience today that's out there listening, and they're trying to figure out, they're at this crossroads in their life, and they're trying to figure out, what's the next step for them. And this could be, you touched on weight loss or starting a company or, anything like that. What kind of advice would you give them?
My biggest advice is always to take action. So I've seen so many people that want to change, and they say all the right things, and they'll even buy all the right books and go to all the right events and whatever. But at the end of the day, they're not making that change. They're not taking that action. And so for me, the success that I've achieved, I believe, comes down to finding a strategy and putting it into practice, and then getting feedback from that strategy and tweaking it, and then continuing on and on and on. We call it iteration, and I think that so many people, they want everything to be already done. They want to know how to go from A to Z. But the truth is, going from A to Z is not A, B, C, D. It's probably A, J, back to B, off to G down to, Y, and then all of a sudden back to A again, right? It's a process. And so many people, they've got to learn it. And a thing, a quote that I always say it's my favorite quote that I ever came up with, if you're allowed to have a favorite quote by yourself, but it's, life rewards those who take action, not those who take notes. And it's just so true. I've seen it over and over again. So my advice, the thing that I tell people is, decide what it is you want to achieve, and then go at it, take action. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is a joke. You don't really fail. You just discover a strategy that didn't work.
Right.
And that's fine, and then just keep going. Like, I don't really believe you can fail unless you quit,
Yeah.
And that's not even failure. That's you quit, so you can keep at it, because even if the worst things befall you and you're starting over again, who cares? You're still there,
Right, yeah.
So keep going.
Well, Mike, what's the best way to connect with you? I've got all of your links, and I'm going to put all that in the show notes. But for people that are just listening in the car, what's that best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way to reach me is through my site that I run, onlyonemike.com. That's ONLYONE, Mike, MIKE.com. On there, I have blog. I write stuff each week. I've got links to all my social stuff, so you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, all those things. I that's kind of like my hub, and that site's actually been online since 2006.
Oh wow! Okay.
So you can go back on there and find some of the crazy stuff that I wrote. That I'm probably, if I even saw it, I'd be like, "What is this?"
Yeah,
from way back. So site's old.
I know exactly what that's like when you read some of the stuff I've written for years ago or whatever. It's like, oh man, is that even me?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Mike, so what are you currently working on? Is anything you'd like to promote, a project, book, anything like that?
Yeah, so right now, I do have a book that I just finished up, and it's called "How to Obliterate the Blank Page." It's proven strategies for creating high converting sales copy from scratch. So if you've got to write anything where you have to convince someone to do something, this is the book for you. If you're hearing me through this podcast, I want to actually give that book away. So I'm not going to charge for it. It's actually going to be a PDF version of it. And you can go to onlyonemike.com/ninja. And I will give that book away to you completely free.
Wow.
So,
all right. Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just a final question here. Is there anything that you would like to bring up or talk about that we didn't touch on?
There was one quick thing, and when you had asked before about strategies or things that I do, there's one more that works extremely well. And I mean, it's probably been taught before, but it's something that for me has helped a ton. And that is when, setting a timer and saying, okay, I'm going to work for 33 minutes and then I'll stop at that point. And I tell you, that for me has been incredible. Like, I get so much more stuff done. I don't know why. I guess it's just the idea that I'm going to work until the timer goes off.
I had a guest on the show a while back, and I told him about this. It's called the Pomodoro Technique.
Yes.
Yeah, and I told him about it, and he had never heard of it. And a week later, he emailed me saying, wow, it had just totally transformed his life. And he's into digital marketing, actually. And he's got a smaller firm, but he actually ran like a little class and got his entire shop using the process. And he's like, the level of anxiety went down and the level of output went up.
It does. I mean, it works. So yeah, if you guys are out there, but you haven't done that yet, then get on it. It's for sure good.
Well, thank you for everything you shared with us today, Mike. I mean, I took generally I don't take a lot of notes, and I took a ton of notes today, and there's a lot of just tons of really good value in here, Mike. I really appreciate it. And, thanks for your time.
Yeah, I thank you so much. It's been fun. You've been awesome. And you taught me a bunch of stuff too. So thank you.
Yeah. So man, Mike just dropped a lot of value on us. Make sure you go out and read the show notes for this, because there's a really great bio that I'm putting in there for Mike. Just to give you a little bit more background about him, all of the links to social media and everything like that, as well as some of the acronyms that we covered in the show. But just, real quick, he talked about a couple of things here. One, going from weighing 500 pounds down to 200. And one of the ways that he's managed to keep that weight off is just basically having a daily routine. He dives into that, talks about, walking, going to the gym, waking up at the same time, remaining active. He touched on the Pomodoro Technique, which we've talked about on the show before. He also talked about, how companies, the ones that succeed versus the ones that don't. And what he has seen is marketing and sales is what people focus on for the companies that succeed. And then he gets into a great acronym that I really loved. It was called FEELS. And he was talking about when you write copy and getting it out to your customers, that you have to make them feel feels. So, the first F is fast, then E is for easy, the second E is expert, L for lifestyle, then S is a system or the steps and how it's going to change their life. Outside of that, he talked about, keeping his Super 6, the 6 things he's going to focus on to get done for that day. And at the end, it was all about continuously iterating your process and things in your life and just taking action.
Thanks for listening to the UpRev Ninja podcast with your host, Tom Hudson. Navigate to our website at uprev.ninja today, where you will find additional resources to help you discover the best version of you. While you're there, join our newsletter and join the discussion on your favorite social media platforms. We've got some awesome guests lined up to share with us how they are becoming the best versions of themselves. Again, thank you for listening. Now it's time to go out and uprev your life.